What is up, everyone? How are we doing today? Today is April 15th, 2026, and in this video, I'm going to be bringing down the two trades I took. One was a break even, and it ended up playing out. It was so clean. I can't believe we went break even on that trade. However, it ended up happening. And the second trade was a long, absolutely smacked that. Super clean setup. Incredibly bullish today. And besides that, let's just get right into the video. And before we get into the video, I want to announce that my Discord is officially live. If you haven't joined, I'm going to have the link in the description. It's in my Instagram, and I basically post all the trades I take, daily biases. There's chats for anyone, any members. Tons of great sauce, tons of great content in here. Go check it out. You can see what I'm thinking every single morning, and eventually I'm going to be live trading my streams. I'm going to be streaming my live trading. And yeah, let's hop into actual trading view now. All right, so hopping into trading view, as you can see, these are the two trades I took. They were both continuation longs, both great setups. And let's just hop right into it, right? So first thought is, what do we have here? We have an 830 data high, and oops, my light just died. All right, whatever. All right, so we have this 830 data high, and one thing I want to premise is that every single day, this is the third day that's happened, where at 830 we created a huge candle, a huge wick, and at 930 open, we ended up just taking this out. Now, this happened yesterday and the day before, Monday and Tuesday, and we had the same exact thing happen today. And what's going on in my mind? Okay, if we ended up taking those out the last 2 days and we have such bullish conviction because everyone's like, oh, what is the daily bias? What is the daily bias? We are most obviously bullish. If you're just looking at this range, we are just pumping up with absolutely no signs of us displacing lower. No bearish order flow, no bearish order structure whatsoever. We are simply just respecting every single gap. And the reason for this is because of, obviously, we had war news, geopolitical news. Major companies are thriving right now. And honestly, we just have no other main targets, right? We are at all-time highs right now. At the time I'm recording this video, it is 7:30. As you can see, we finally are touching that all-time high level. And the thing I want you to notice is that we are going to continue being in a bullish model until we end up hitting a bearish PD array. And in this case, if we looked in the 4-hour, the only thing we had is we had this 4-hour bearish fair value gap, and that just got immediately displaced through, right? The last couple of days, we have just been printing up, and there has been no major PD array that has been in our way. And obviously, we had that 4-hour, but we just immediately displaced through that this morning and actually overnight. So showing that conviction, we can clearly see that we just want to pump higher, and we wanted to take out this major high, which was back in January, and even the one back in what is it, October, I believe. Yeah, October. We were looking for those all-time highs. We're continuously pumping up, and we have no idea when we're gonna stop. Right? We could maybe have some crazy news that could just send us down, but right now we are just continue pumping with no signs of us stopping. Right? There's no sign of any reversal, no major PD array saying we're gonna send us lower, and so that's why I want you to take into account. Right? We had major backings. We have all these for value gaps. We had 4 hours, 1 hours. Everything is getting completely respected. No disrespectation. Excuse me. No things being disrespected whatsoever. And based off this, I'm just gonna obviously take longs. There's no reason for me to short. I know so many people who are looking for shorts today, and honestly, I thought it was very idiotic. They're like, oh, just because we were in this 4-hour bearish PD array, that means we're gonna short. No, that does not mean that at all. I believe at 9:30, people were trying to short this inversion after hitting this data wick. And this literally just makes no sense if you really think about it, right? Mechanically speaking, sure, it's a good trade if you're tapping into a bearish PD array and you want to look for a continuation lower, maybe to these equal lows. However, there is no sign that price wants to go down. The draw of liquidity is the most important thing when it comes to trading, and the only reason you're ever going to become profitable or actually be a good trader is once you finally realize that your trades have to align with the higher time frame trend, and you are just self-sabotaging yourself by trading against it, right? So this 830 data high was my main draw on liquidity. And what did I want to see us do at open? I wanted us to see us open lower and then eventually tap into a higher time frame PD array and take highs, right? And as you can see, so coming into the day, I am mainly targeting this data wick. This is my main draw. right? As you can clearly see, we had that 830 high, and that is clearly what price wants to do. We have no signs of bearish movement, like I was saying before. And what do I want to look for? I want to look for us to tap into a major PD array, like a bullish 5 minute gap, and then take longs after that. Now, if we hop on the 15-minute chart, we can clearly see that we had this bullish 15-minute fair value gap, and we also have a intermediate low. Now, let me go ahead and just draw this out for you to make it clear. And basically, when market opens, what do I want to see this do? I want to see price shoot down, come either sweep this intermediate low or tap into this gap and then take this high out. And one thing I want to preface is that just because there is an intermediate low does not mean that we have to sweep out this low in order for us to continue higher. When we have so much discretion and conviction in the market that we are continuing bullish, we have no major bearish PD arrays to hold us back, and there's no real sign of a reversal. We do not have to wait for the most major key level to get hit before we go. So for example, if we just tapped into this gap and then had an inversion fair value gap and then took it long, that would be a perfectly acceptable play. We don't necessarily have to wait for this 15-minute intermediate low to get swept. We don't necessarily have to wait for this 15-minute bullish fair value gap to get hit. Whichever the first major, when I mean major, I mean anything like 5, 15, 5 minutes are kind of iffy. I love 5 minutes. However, just the win rate is not really that high on those compared to a 15-minute. I'm waiting for a 15-minute gap to get hit and then taking longs after this, especially when it's in such a small range. This is less than a 100-point range, and 15 minutes are totally applicable, totally fine in this situation. So I marked out this 15-minute gap, and that is exactly what I want to see price hit before tracing up to this data wick, right? So 9:30, I believe this is 9:30 candle. Yeah, we create this candle and we just immediately start dumping lower. Now, in this case, we did not even end up hitting this gap. We just continue to print upwards and we immediately took this out. And one thing I want to preface is that just because we did not hit this bullish fair value gap does not mean that our entry would have been invalidated, right? We had this order block right here. If we wanted to enter, we totally could have. Honestly, was considering entering even though our actual model wasn't there. We didn't have that major inversion after tapping into a higher key level, but the drawn liquidity is so strong that honestly, the execution and the final execution part, like whether it's an IFEG, whether it's order blocks, whatever it is, that is the least important step. What is important is that we are hitting a key level, we are actually being supported off of something, and that we have a strong drawn liquidity. In this case, it was that data wick, and as you can see, price immediately opened lower. We did not hit this major gap though, and what did we end up doing? We just ended up taking this out. Now, I posted this on my Instagram, and like an hour before, 2 hours, saying, okay, this is the major drawn liquidity today. This is what I want to see get hit. Besides that, there weren't really any more draws higher as we were approaching all-time highs. At this point, we still had a ton of room. I believe it was a couple hundred points to get all-time highs. But in this case, we were just at the highest point of our peak right now, and we really didn't have anything after this. Now, what do I want to do? I'm not going to be looking for a reversal. I'm not going to be looking for shorts. I want to find more continuations longs. All in my mind is that I'm thinking, okay, price is going to continue higher. Now, in order to actually take advantage of price being bullish and price going higher, I need to find a continuation model. I need to create a 15-minute, a 5-minute, end up retracing into that gap and then taking it to that newly created high. And after that data wick got taken out, we really didn't have anything until we finally created this 5-minute gap we ended up retracing into, right? What did I say? I wanted to say we had continuation longs after creating a new gap and then taking it to the high point that we created. And that is exactly what happens in this trade. So we ended up pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. We created this 5-minute bullish fair value gap. Now, what am I looking for in this situation? I want to see price retap into this and take out our next point. And as you can see, what ends up happening is we end up forming this high. And as you can see, they were actually relative equal highs. And right here, we tapped into this gap. Now, this is important because what did I mention? We have our new drawn liquidity. We tapped into our higher time frame key level. Now, what am I going to be looking for? I'm going to be looking for an inversion to the upside. And once we get a closure above that, I'm going to be taking this trade. Now, I believe in this trade, it was a 30-second I took. Yeah, so as you can see, we ended up on the manipulation leg down, which is very important. On the manipulation down to that 5-minute gap, we ended up creating this 30-second inversion. And on the next candle, we ended up closing above. Now, this is exactly where I had my take profit. We created relative equal highs, which is an even stronger target than if we just had a single wick. And we also just put our stop loss at the bottom of that candle. Now we had everything in conviction, right? We have our higher time frame bias, which is incredibly bullish. We have our lower time frame bias, which we know we just want to keep pushing up. We created our new draw on liquidity. We tapped into our 5-minute gap, and we created a 30-second inversion. This is quite literally the most bread and butter A+ setup ever. And if we watch price play out, we just immediately shoot higher, 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 and we ended up smacking that TP. It's kind of like building a puzzle, and once you have all the pieces that fully align, then you're able to execute and finally complete the puzzle. Like I said, new draw on liquidity, higher time frame bias, bullish, lower time frame bias, bullish, tapped into a key level, created an inversion, closed above that with fantastic displacement, by the way, and we ended up taking that long. Right? It's as simple as that. That was a trade of the day. Super beautiful. Cashed out on this. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole day. That was pretty much the best trade of the day, in my opinion. Obviously, I would have loved to enter in that data high from that 830, but we did not get an entry. I know I said the entry point is the least important part, which honestly it is, and I totally should have entered. However, just in case we had a repeat of yesterday or Monday, I believe, where we immediately opened and wicked down, so many people got absolutely smoked. Their stop loss got hit instantly, and just like the wick moved so fast down in like a second, where it was just not really that worth it for me to take that trade off of that. If we would have had an inversion or just a little bit more time for that to play out, I would have loved to be in that. However, it just happened so fast that it really didn't make sense for me to enter that. But we were patient. This trade, I believe, this was at like 10:40. This is usually like the latest I'll ever trade. 10:40 to 10:49. It was a 9-minute trade. And after that, we were out. We took the trade, and that's pretty much it, right? It was as simple as that, smooth as that. And if you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, whatever it is. Anything will help. I will attach my Discord in the bio. Free to join, ask questions, whatever it is, I'll be there answering anything. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace.